Will Howard is J.J. McCarthy. Quinshon Judkins is Blake Corum. And Trey Henderson is Donovan Edwards. Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
With elite level receiver talent. Their offensive line is the number one question mark here. But I do wonder with a three-headed running backfield, because Howard's a very good runner, and Ohio State hasn't had a very good runner that they've actually used as a runner, maybe since JT Barrett. Obviously, we know what Justin Fields has become in the NFL. They did not use him that way in college. CJ Stroud did not run in college. Cardale Jones could run, but they didn't. I mean, this would be the first time they actually have a threat who would probably run on designed runs and scramble as much as J.J. McCarthy. I'm wondering, in the world of college football these days, there is a discussion point of how good does your quarterback need to be to win a national championship? And Michigan has shifted the paradigm of how we view national champions quite a bit in the last few days. And J.J. McCarthy, well, in terms of like roster building and what you need and all the things that we've talked about all month, I do think that the way that they won as a team and the fact that they didn't really have any dynamic offensive skill outside of the running back room. I mean, they've done a lot of things that I didn't think were possible after finishing watching 2019 LSU. Okay. And circumstances might have provided an easier route this year, but it doesn't matter. They did it. I'm very curious if Ohio State returns a defense that is proficient as it was last year, or at least matches the production. And they have an upgrade at quarterback from Kyle McCord. And Jeremiah Smith produces right away. They have got the best 1-2 running back combination maybe in the country. Their offensive lineman improves. McLaughlin remembers how to snap the football. They have a chance to have a very good football team next year.
They definitely have a chance. But I think in this world of fantasy football, where you start putting together these super teams, which I thought we actually had an interesting discussion after the game about what that looks like and how that happens. And I'm not saying Ohio State's necessarily a super team, but like Will Howard, Quinshon Judkins, these are very accomplished players in their own right before coming to Ohio State. It doesn't always work out. And I think it can, and I won't be surprised if it does, but the idea that I think they're just going to just be a wagon day one, I'm not sure. But this is what I'm saying. I think is really interesting. And this is where college football, I don't think all the movement is great for the sport in general at the level that it's happening right now. And I think that will be temporary in the sport as the rules change, as player status changes, as we get closer to employee status, whatever that looks like. I don't think the movement as currently constructed is great for the sport. But what it is extremely interesting. Because for a long time, all the offseason conversation is the new guy good? And we don't really know, right? You hadn't really seen a lot. A lot of the scope programs shut down practices. You don't see a lot of practices. Obviously, you don't have practice film to look at. You're kind of just guessing, and sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But Will Howard, we've seen a lot of him. Quinshon Judkins is going to be great regardless. Like, he's unbelievable. But you're putting a guy who is a good player, not a great player, into a different offense with totally different weapons and a totally different world. And so the idea that he could, go through the roof is really interesting. But it's new arithmetic.
It's the same quarterback discussion that you have on every level. What if Tom Brady were drafted by the Cleveland Browns? What if J.J. McCarthy played for Arizona State? Like when you put somebody in a system where they can throw the ball up and they have a monster of a receiver that's going to go get it, the thing that I think is interesting about Ohio State's offense is that they don't necessarily employ as many get the ball out plays or get the ball out quickly plays as a team like Washington. Like Washington almost used like these receiver screen, tunnel screen type plays in rushing situations, and it worked very well. And when it comes to stat padding, some of the like Bo Nix, I think, had a lot of really advantageous, situations.
Throws,
like I don't know that Ohio State's offense is in a position that it's going to be like, producing like Penix and Bo Nix did in terms of quarterback stat numbers. But I'm not concerned about the Heisman race. I'm concerned about effective offense and a quarterback who can be dangerous enough to put the ball where it needs to be, playmakers that can take the top off of a defense, and a team that can run the ball first, which Ohio State hasn't been for a long time.